All right. Show, Doug Stewart, one half of the world famous Two Live Stews. And tough one today for the Birds as they go down to the Seattle Seahawks, 34-14. Very simple. They could not get on track to save their lives. Absolutely nothing seemed to work today, except for the running of Bijan Robinson. So we're going to talk about it over the next hour. Thank you for joining your boys, Doug Stewart and Ryan Stewart, the Two Live Stews. Ryan's not here yet. He should be stepping in here very soon. So really, this is just to talk to you about the game, talk to you about what you saw today from the Atlanta Falcons as they lose once again to the Seattle Seahawks, 34-14. Falcons now go to 4-3 on the year after once again a tough loss today. I just mentioned it. I just talked about it. The rushing attack today from Bijan Robinson was fantastic. They gave him the ball a lot, 21 carries, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. Looked explosive, looked very shifty. Probably one of the most shifty backs in the NFL. And but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. They actually, some things that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, they actually addressed some of those things. And then the thing that was very consistent over the last couple of weeks kind of fell short today. And that was the quarterback play from Kirk Cousins and the running of the Atlanta Falcons with Bijan Robinson in particular kind of switched up today. Even though Kirk Cousins' numbers, if you look at them, they don't look that bad as far as completions, attempts, and completions. He went 24 for 35, 232 yards, had the 2 interceptions, skipped a couple of balls today, didn't look confident, had the fumble in the fourth quarter that was picked up and ran in for a touchdown, extending the lead for the Seattle Seahawks. Once again, he was just kind of off today. Want to get your thoughts. Make sure that you comment or post in the chat room here on the Two Live Stews Experience. Comment your thoughts, and we're going to read some of your chat messages. We're only going to be here for about an hour, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning with the Two Live Stews Experience in earnest, where we'll talk about everything from the past weekend in the world of sports, entertainment, and beyond. We'll have some fun as we always do tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. All right, so what are your thoughts? Give me some comments. Give me some thoughts about the game today with the Atlanta Falcons going down. Once again, going down to the Seattle Seahawks, 34-14. Falcons go to 4-3 on the year. Seahawks improved to 4-3 on the year. A couple of observations. I've talked about it already several times in the last 2 minutes. Kirk Cousins was not particularly on today. Bijan Robinson played fantastic. They really looked like they wanted to make a concerted effort to run the football today with Bijan. Geno Smith played very, very well today. He's got a cannon. Geno Smith has a cannon arm, very succinct in the pocket, knows what he's doing, made a very good play at the beginning of the fourth quarter where he threw the touchdown pass to the running back Walker where he stepped up in the pocket and just lofted one right over the defensive back's head into Walker's hands, where they scored a touchdown once again in the third quarter. Here's the thing about the Falcons. We lost today, but it seems like we're always playing these close games. It seems like we're always playing these close games in this season. Now, I'm happy to be where we're at right now at the beginning of the season in the NFC South, but it seems like week after week after week after week, it's always a close game. It's always, a field goal here, a field goal there. Speaking of which, Koo missed a field goal today, which is a shock. If you've been following this team over the last couple of years, he's the safest thing to guaranteed as you can get as far as kickers. But he actually missed a field goal kick today. It was a pretty long one, but it kind of worrying me a little bit about the drama that we seem to have every single week with this team. Seems like all of their games, once again, are coming down to the very end. If you look back at the scores, Steelers, they lost to the Steelers. We lost 18-10. Then we beat the Eagles by 1 point. And then we lose by 5 points to the Chiefs. And then we win by 2 points against the Saints. And then we win by less than a touchdown against the Buccaneers. Good win over the Carolina Panthers last week, 38-20, but it is the Carolina Panthers. And then today, it seems like we just could not get right to save our lives. I want to read some of your thoughts on this hour-long Falcons wrap-up show here on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, the Two Live Stews. Want to get your thoughts. Were you at the Dome? Were you down there tailgating? Did you watch the game? What are your thoughts about the Falcons after a tough loss today from the Seattle Seahawks? All right. Let's see. Jaguars, number one hater, a.k.a. Gilliard Road, Flower Garden. Robinson had some J.R. Crickets, lemon pepper, and wings pregame meal. He looked good. And this is something that me and my brother have been talking about a lot over the start of the season, is that we got to find a way to give him the ball more today. And today, it seems like they made a concerted effort to make sure that they got Bijan Robinson the football, and they did. Once again, 21 carries, 103 yards, did have the touchdown, made some electrifying runs today that everybody's going to be talking about come tomorrow. From Julius 35C, Falcons need to regroup and focus on the Bucs. They can still wrap up the NFC South. Absolutely. Melvin Echoes, the best part about the Falcons game is we have a Two Live Stews Falcons wrap-up. Appreciate that, Melvin Echoes. It would have been better if we would have got the win, but we did not get it. Julius 35C, one of Kirk's interceptions is on Drake London. A pass that it should have been caught by Drake London. You're absolutely right. Sailed kind of high today. Still should have been a catch by Drake London. You're absolutely right. I agree 100%. From Julius 35C, I think Deshaun Watson is done for the season. I saw a headline that said that he got hurt in their game today. We're going to get some information about that. Maybe we'll talk about it for a second or two. From Old National, we want Penix. So Michael Penix actually came into the game maybe with 2-3 minutes left in the game. I think he made one attempt, a little out pattern to the left side. It looked very crisp. It's the end of the game. I don't know how much you can take from one completed pass by Michael Penix, but it was a sharp, precise pass where he once again hit a wide receiver in the flat out there on the left, and so it looked good for him. I think that might be his first. Nadi, can we get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Is that his first action, or has he been in any games at all? That's his first action. That's his first action of the year, and once again, very little to judge off of. I think he came in the game once again with maybe 2 minutes left in the game and did make the one throw and the one catch by the receiver. All right. And you're watching the Two Live Stews Experience, Doug Stewart. There he is.
Happy Sunday, sir. Good afternoon.
Can't hear you. I'm not sure if it's on my end or on you guys' end as far as we'll see. Nadi, you still hear me good, right? I'm coming across loud and clear? Okay. All right. So we'll get Ryan back here in a second. From Stewart Media Entertainment, this Falcons game wasn't close. They were dismantled. That comes from the great Nadi Dread, the producer to the show. From Julius 35C, keep Penix on the sideline. Let Kirk take the pounding for him. That's kind of like the theme of a lot of people as well. And go ahead, Ryan. Are you there?
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Okay, let me try this.
Yeah, all my settings are where they're supposed to be at.
Yeah. Go ahead. So I can barely hear you. I can hear you. Barely, but go ahead. What are your thoughts about the game today, man?
We saw a Falcons team that cannot afford to do the things that they did today. We saw a Falcons team that can't turn the ball over. We saw a Falcons team that need to find a way to get off the field on third downs. We saw a Falcons team that didn't give the ball to Bijan Robinson near as much as they should. There's a lot of things that the Falcons team did today that ended up putting them in the position that they were in, and that's getting beat by 2 scores to a team that is an okay football team in the National Football League. And if I had to sum it all up real quick, that would be what I would say, sir.
Yeah. So Falcons once again 4-3. Seattle now goes to 4-3. The game that I watched today, I'm gonna tell you, Kirk Cousins, or not Kirk Cousins, but Geno Smith played very well. Geno Smith played very well today as they come into Atlanta and they get a big win for their organization. Geno Smith was 18 for 28, 207 yards. He had 2 TDs passing, but no interceptions, and was sacked 1 time for 6 yards. Nadi, do you hear Ryan? Okay, is Ryan coming across? Okay. Okay, all right, so fine. So something going on my end where I can't hear everybody else that good. But hey, what are your thoughts about the effort to give Bijan Robinson a lot of carries and make him a big part of this offense today? That was a welcome sign, I think.
He had 21 carries for right at 5 yards a carry, basically 103 yards. Maybe if he had 25 or 30. The Falcons wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. But no, I've talked about it for weeks. He's truly a feature back in this league, and he must be featured every single Sunday, Thursday, or Monday that the Falcons are on the field. And they tried to do that tonight. But when you have 2 giveaways, like you did with Kirk Cousins, I don't care if you give the ball to Bijan 25 times, his 100-plus yards are not going to matter. You've got to be able to keep control of the ball.
The created fumble in the 4th quarter by the Seahawks defender, and it looked like Kirk Cousins just couldn't get away. He couldn't move. He can't move. He has really very little mobility, to say the least, and that was a play strictly caused by the fact that he can't move well right now.
Right. Falcons rushed for 155 yards today. Kirk Cousins, other than the 2 picks, didn't have a bad outing. Okay, 230-plus passing yards. So that strip, fumble recovery, and fumble return, sir. If your team's giving the ball away twice and they can't score and generate ways to get up the field on third downs, you're not going to be able to turn the ball over, and you damn sure can't turn it over and give people scores when you turn it over, because that just eats your defense, your offense's heart out, and that's what happened tonight.
All right, so let's read some of these messages in the chat room, man. Stewart Media and Entertainment. Bijan had 21 carries, 3 catches. That's from the great Naughty Dread. From Julius 35C Looseneck. That Deshaun Watson injury looks just like Katie's injury versus the Raptors. You see the pop. Yeah, so from what I'm understanding, man, Deshaun Watson got hurt today. And it's pretty serious. Tough year for the young man, to say the least. Tough last 2 years.
It's been a tough 5 years for this dude, man.
Yeah, it's been a very tough couple of years for Deshaun Watson. From Looseneck Perpetuity Side, says no Cowboys game today, so I'll be able to watch the Falcons fans be disappointed today. You're so harsh, sir. Why? From Ron Lee says, what up, Ryan? Perpetuity Stewart. From Looseneck, St. Louis Ron, John Mickens, they're just shouting out each other. So, yeah, Falcons get the loss today. Something I mentioned earlier right before you got on, man, is it seems like this team every week in and week out are having close games. We've got a good record in relative terms in the NFC South, at the top of the NFC South, but these games are coming down. They're too close. I'd like to see them have a blowout win here coming up soon, just so they can, show that they have that in them, and that we don't have to worry about, outlasting somebody at the end of these games.
So I don't remember the specific stat that I read within the last 5 or 6 days, But you mentioned the Falcons having close games. Sir, it's not just a Falcons thing. Okay? Last week in the National Football League, there were 14 games. And the better of each quarterback last weekend won their games. Now, is that a huge stat? Yes. Is that a mind-blowing stat? No, because the better quarterback should win when you're looking at games. However, a lot of games are being decided by 3 to 6 points, period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the Falcons that's having a lot of close games. That's what's going on in the National Football League right now. All these games are coming down to the wire, are coming down to who plays the best or has the less mistakes or least amount of turnovers. A few things that I like to harp on when we do these wrap-up shows is 3 things. Time of possession. Falcons won that 31% at 31 minutes. They had time of possession, so they controlled that. Penalties, way too many. Okay, you got the Seahawks with 5 penalties, 42 yards. Falcons, 9 penalties, 72 yards. Way too many. And third down efficiency. The Falcons had an okay third down efficiency, getting 8 of them 15 times. All right. The Seahawks had 4 for 11, so not as good. So a couple of the things that I tend to focus on when there's a close game like this, time of possession, penalties, and third down efficiency. Other than the penalties, the Falcons did well in all those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Falcons at Tampa Bay next weekend. As you know, they got the big win against them a couple of weeks ago, 36-30, but travel to Tampa Bay next weekend. And I'm not even sure if the status of their stadium, with Hurricane Helene coming through like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, but scheduled to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next weekend down in Tampa. Once again, 4-3 right now on the year. And to be a Falcons fan and watch the team over the years, we're not sitting bad right now.
No,
we'd like
not at
to
all.
be, have a better record. We'd like to have had better performances. We'd not like to have not lost today, but right now they're still in the thick of things.
Reading these text messages, TJ Carter says the GIMP was back today. I disagree. I understand what you're saying, and Kirk Cousins wasn't his usual self that he's shown to be the past few weeks. Didn't throw for 509 yards, didn't have 4 TDs, but I think he played good enough to win. However, let me say this and make sure everybody understands. Even though I'm refusing to continue to call him a GIMP based upon how he's played so far this year, he's in a situation where he is not going to be able to evade the rush and move the pocket for this offense. We're seeing the same thing out of all the older quarterbacks that have had Achilles injuries within the last year. Who's that? Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. They're not scrambling for no 30 yards. They're not moving the pocket left and right. They're not evading the rush big time this year. They're older quarterbacks that are coming off of Achilles injuries that can't really move. So I don't think the GIMP was back. I do think that he's hampered because of his injury, but he's shown us he's got the capacity to win.
Yeah, definitely. I remember us talking about Kirk Cousins when the team signed him and they brought him on in early, the first game of the year against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel a lot better about Kirk Cousins now than I did then. Even though today was a tough day, sometimes teams just got your number. And I think that might have been the situation today. They had the number. Great defensive play today by the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith, I can't stop talking about that guy. That guy he's a traditional old school sit in the pocket type quarterback and beat you with his arm. Like the dude has a cannon, very accurate today from what I watched, and I watched him make every single throw. But tough for the negative of the Falcons. He had a great day today, but once again, the Falcons, still feel like that they got a lot of opportunity this year coming up.
How excited did you get when you saw Michael Penix Jr. warming up?
Very
excited. Your
thoughts
and your feelings when you saw that?
Very excited, and I think you might have been on already when I asked Nadi, was this his first action of the year? And I got a thumbs up.
It was.
First time we actually saw him on the field, and it's interesting. They made the comment that, Michael Penix and I can't remember who the coach was that they quoted, but they said that Penix was one of the most fluid or one of the best quarterbacks that they had ever seen in coaching quarterbacks in all their years. So a lot to look forward to. And that guy, I don't foresee Kirk Cousins just, shriveling up and just it'd be downhill from this point on the rest of the season. Once again, it was a tough week, tough game tonight, and I'm sure they'll turn it around next week when they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Cousins is your quarterback for the next year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're 7 games in now. Cousins is your quarterback for another year. 6 to 7 games in the next season. I don't see or understand why Michael Penix Jr. won't be the guy in Atlanta.
Right.
Okay, because with Cousins right now, and I think he can continue to get better weekly. I think each week that he plays and stays on his feet post Achilles injury, I think he'll be a better quarterback. But if we had a guy that was fleet of foot like Michael Penix Jr. right now, we'd probably have a better record.
He can burn the ball better than Kirk Cousins. I was going to say he's really kind of like he's not really a dual threat, I don't think.
He's a pocket passer that can move and get out of the pocket.
Yeah.
But again, Cousins is so hampered right now that Penix easily can use his legs much better than he could. And that's part of today's game, man. That's part of today's game. If you don't have a quarterback that can scramble and get you 8 yards when he sees man-to-man coverage, you're not as strong as other teams that do have that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing so many quarterbacks now, the minute they recognize it's man-to-man coverage because DBs have turned their backs to them, chasing receivers down the field, the minute they realize that, what do? They take a free, cheap 5, 6, 7 yards.
Yeah.
That is huge for offenses when it comes to getting first downs. If you can average 3, 4 yards a play, you can stay on the field. So if a quarterback can get you 7, 8 yards, maybe even 10 yards running the ball because it's man-to-man coverage, that's an asset. So I don't see Cousins, if he's not able to get out of his pocket, being around much longer, man. I mean, you.
Yeah, I even, it's funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that yesterday in watching the Alabama-Tennessee game. I put a post in the Two Lives Two's Facebook chat group. It's so much better to watch these new jack quarterbacks, these dual threat quarterbacks. Like the games are just so much more exciting. It is what it is than watching a traditional sit in the pocket statue type quarterback. It is.
And it's a much more unpredictable game.
Right.
And listen, that's a defensive coordinator's nightmare. For you to have good coverage, okay, you got 4 guys in front you trust and believe in. You got 7 guys behind them in coverage. And when those 4 guys can't get to them, when you can see your quarterback that just decides to, meander down the field for 7 to 10 yards, that breaks defensive coordinators' backs.
Right.
So when you've got that, it's an asset. It's something that you want. And the teams that do have that, which, hell, is 15 to 16 up now in the NFL, it makes sense. We're seeing a trend. The teams that do have that have more success on offense.
From Loose Neck, again, he says the Gimp may not be back, but he's definitely in line waiting to be let in the door. I hope that's not the case, man.
No.
I hope that's not the case. We're going to have a tailgate in, 2 weeks from now?
Yep.
For the Dallas game here in Atlanta.
Weekend of November 3rd and November 4th weekend.
Yeah. So I'm hoping the Falcons win next weekend so we can go into that game with Dallas coming to town and all of their crazy Dallas Cowboy fans just to have a good atmosphere at the tailgate. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I don't want them to lose 2 weeks in a row and then spirits are down and people don't really want to come out to the tailgate and kick it. And, so I'm hoping for the best next week they can get together and win on the road against Tampa.
Location for the Falcons tailgate. The Two Live Stews Falcons tailgate will be in Smooth's parking lot. Smooth, that's right, Ticketman Smooth, smooth.com. His parking lot right across from the Ben Stadium and the convention
Old school,
center.
where we used to have the tailgates every week back in the day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So our second location where we had our tailgates, we used to do it right outside of Gate D in the orange lot, but now we moved from Gate D to Smooth's lot across from the Benz and the convention center. That's where we will be in 2 weeks, the weekend of the 3rd and the 4th of November, for the Falcons Cowboys tailgate. Two Live Stews Falcons Cowboys tailgate.
What are your thoughts about the game? Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., the Two Live Stews experience. And we'll be talking about everything from this past weekend, your ballers, your busters, your game balls, your goats, whatever you want to call it. We'll have Arlie World. She's going to talk some entertainment. We've got the last 48 with the 5 biggest memes in the Two Live Stews Facebook chat group over the last couple of days. We got to have a conversation about oxtails. You eat oxtails, right?
I used to. I'm off the beef now. Like 4 years off the beef.
Okay.
But
okay.
I used to love an oxtail. As a matter of fact, I called Ma, and me and her talked about it for about 30 minutes a couple of days ago. I used to love oxtails, but I'm off that beef now.
Yeah, I made that call too, because I had to confirm. It's a long story. People will be like, what are y'all talking about oxtails? So I made a post in the Two Live Stews Facebook chat group, talking about oxtails. I'm not even going to tell you which side the conversation went, and spurned a lot of conversation. Well over 100,000 views in a day. Over 100,000 views and comments, a gazillion comments in a day. So I called our mother, and I was like, I want to make sure that I've been hitting the head a lot. I might be forgetting. You never made no oxtails for us when we were growing up. She was like, no.
Nope.
So we'll have a long
but we had
tomorrow morning.
We had a grandmother that did make chitlins though.
Yeah, she made that. She made chitlins, but she never made oxtails either. That's another thing I confirmed. Our grandmother, two of the most greatest cooks, country women
ever in the history
you could ever imagine.
Right.
That's something that we didn't do. But we'll get into all of that oxtail conversation tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on the Two Live Stews experience.
Something that concerns me as we hear about the Detroit Lions, who will be seeking a defensive end, talking about getting Max Crosby from the Raiders. Everyone that needs a defensive end, they're saying that it's going to be Max Crosby. So I told a buddy a couple of days ago that not only do the Detroit Lions, in Hutchinson's absence, need a defensive end, and they would probably consider Crosby. But the Falcons, as good as they are, as good as this team is, and the potential that this team has, they need a DN too. So I don't know why they wouldn't go for Crosby. Sir, today, Kirk Cousins got sacked 3 times. On the other side of that, we only got 1 sack. We've got to find a way to get the opposing quarterback down on the ground. And consequently, we got to find a way for the Falcons to keep our quarterback up. If your quarterback is taking 3 sacks, sir, that's way too many. So you got 3 sacks. Let's just say you lost 5 to 6 yards per sack, and you got 2 turnovers. Mm-hmm. Sir, that's 5 plays that cut your testicles out if you're an offense. It's just too much. You can't do it. So they got to find a way to, A, put pressure on opposing quarterbacks, which we're not doing, and B, protect our quarterback from getting sacked. And they're not doing that either.
2 things. I'll say this, man. The offensive line, I think, is playing great. I think the offensive line has been doing fantastic this year. It's just when they pass, they can't, Cousins can't move, okay?
Can't get out of the way.
But as far as run blocking, I think they're doing a very good job. And you're right, on the other side of the ball, we brought in Judon, and he looked good the first couple of games from what I remember. But they're not really getting pressure on the quarterback. Grady Jarrett, it seems like, I don't want to say he's regressed, but they're not getting to the quarterback. You're exactly right.
And when it comes to the players you just mentioned, especially Grady Jarrett is an interior defensive lineman.
Right.
We're not going to see interior defensive linemen outside of Warren Sapp get 20 sacks a year, get 15 sacks a year. Their job is to keep the linebackers standing behind them clean. Their job is to eat blocks. Their job is to cause pressure on the quarterback, but to consume blockers so that people that we're bringing to blitz the quarterback can get to the quarterback. So, yes, when you bring in a free agent or sign a free agent like number 15, you want him to get to the quarterback. Brady Jarrett, every time he gets a quarterback sack, that's just the cherry on the top for your defense. That's not his job. His job is to eat and keep blockers off of the linebackers, and his job is to put pressure on the quarterback whenever they're bringing blitzers so that the blitzers come free.
Yeah, we're talking about Matthew Judon, the trade, the guy we traded for from the New England Patriots, just hasn't brought that oomph. And I mean, everybody was talking about that in the preseason, that we made this trade, and this is going to address the issue that we have of not being able to apply pressure on quarterbacks, but he just hadn't been there really over the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
Absolutely
he's played well, and the defense isn't doing a bad job, but we're not pressuring the quarterback, and we're not getting sacks, and that's why Matthew Judon was brought in here, to pressure the quarterback, to make the quarterback uncomfortable, and to get sacks. So far, he hadn't done that.
Yep. You're watching the Two Live Stews experience. Well, actually, you're watching the Two Live Stews Falcons wrap-up show. The Atlanta Falcons, tough one today against the Seattle Seahawks as they go down today in a tough one, to say the least. A lot of turnovers, a lot of tough breaks for the Falcons in the second half of this game. And once again, they get on the road and they travel next week to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Still, a lot of optimism for the team and what we can do this year, because I think they've been playing well. I think they've been playing well despite the fact that they lose today. They have been playing well. They seem like a better, one of the better Falcons teams to thus point in the season comparatively over the last couple of years. But a very, very tough loss today, and to the Seattle Seahawks 34-14, and they travel next week to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You know I'm a handicapper, right? You know that's what I do, right?
Yeah, I heard this. The Streets is talking about your skill set as a handicapper.
All right. So right now, I want to talk to you about what I've done right and what I've done wrong. Where do you want to hear, the wrong or the right?
I want to hear the right first. Let's be positive.
This week, I chose in 2 teasers the Broncos 3.5, the Bills 3.5, and the Bengals at plus 0.5, plus a half. Okay, so with that teaser, I'm sitting pretty. I got 3 more teams that have to play in that teaser: Washington, Chiefs, and Steelers. I got plus 8 on the Steelers, 7.5 for the Chiefs, and minus 1.5 for the Commanders. Okay, I'm sitting pretty. In the second teaser, I got the Bills minus 3, Texans plus 9, Lions plus 8, Eagles plus 3. All 4 of those are winners already. So with that teaser, I need the Commanders at minus 3.5 to stand up for me, and
I wish you could hear yourself in the last 30 seconds, man. You really think you're a handicapper?
No, I'm talking to you about what I'm doing. I'm talking to you about the success that I'm having.
Right.
Other than week two, I've had a great year. The only weekend I haven't made money was week 2. I've made money every single weekend since then.
Okay.
So I need you to. How much money have you made off games this weekend?
Are you doing real bets, or is this like fantasy?
How much money have you made this weekend?
Well, I already told you I don't really wager, man, because I had a bad experience about 25.
Shut the hell up. Because there's people watching this show that want to handicap games.
Right.
If you hadn't made no money this weekend, and if you so far this year hadn't only had 1 weekend when you hadn't won, you need to shut the hell up.
Well, it's because I don't bet, really, because I had a bad experience like 20 years ago. Clemson taking on Duke. Clemson was up by 30 in the first half. They covered the spread by 20. And the next half, they sat all of their starters, and Duke played all of their starters, and Duke covered the spread. So ever since that game maybe 20 years ago, I don't really gamble like that anymore.
All right. Okay.
I've told you the story before.
All right. Real quick. All right. If you were a professional handicapper like I am, you would know that Clemson, a team that's won multiple championships in the last decade, versus Duke, a team that's not your mama and daddy's Duke like they used to be back then.
This wager was 20 years ago when Duke was bad.
Hold on.
All right.
If you were a professional handicapper like I am, you would know that betting on a team like Clemson that had won championships, or a championship team always in the top of the ACC, versus a team like Duke, a team that is clearly the doormat of that conference, games that's 25-point spreads or 30-point spreads, you don't touch those because the notorious top team in the conference is always going to play hard that first half, but that second half, they're going to rest everybody versus the doormat of the league. You would have known that had you talked to me prior to doing that because I handicap games.
Maybe you should do a show on the network where you handicap. You give your handicapping, predictions and thoughts.
I'm not opposed to that.
I'm sorry?
I'm not opposed to that. Now, what I will say is every time I speak, before I speak or after, y'all would need to post this little clip that says, whatever y'all do, don't listen to this. When it comes to wagering on games, because the last thing I want to do to anyone is to cause them to lose money. That's the last thing I want.
Right.
Okay. So that's the pressure with handicapping. You got people that believe in you and trust you, then they might be putting their hard-earned dollars on wagers and thoughts that you've talked about on one said show. So you got to be real careful doing that.
Right.
Okay. So
all right.
I'm sorry.
You're
before you cut me off, real quick. So I still got 4. I got 2 teasers and 2 parlays that's still in play. And it's already 4:37. So I mean, we're into the second game, and there were games Thursday night as well. And I've still got 2 teasers and 2 parlays that's in play. That's good money, sir. That's good money.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, you don't want to talk about it, man. So go ahead and move on. Take the show whatever direction.
You're watching the Two Live Stews Experience. Now, so tomorrow morning, live on the Two Live Stews Experience, 7 a.m. Eastern Time.
We got a lot to talk about.
I'm sorry?
We got a lot to talk about. A lot to
talk about. We got
today is all Falcons wrap up
tomorrow, but we can give you some updates of scores today in the NFL. Tomorrow we'll be talking about everything from this past weekend. But updated scores in the NFL. Jaguars get it done this morning over the Patriots. How you feel? And I think we definitely talked about this before. How you feel about waking up on a Sunday morning to NFL football at 9:00? I mean, is that not like the greatest thing ever?
I made a post earlier today that these Sunday morning games are a gift and a curse.
How you mean?
I hadn't been to church all fall.
Right.
I had been to church all fall.
Right.
My wife wakes up. She's the Sunday school superintendent at our church. So she's in charge of the kids' Sunday school experience every Sunday morning. So she goes every Sunday. I'm on a couple of committees at the church, like the men's committee and a couple of different committees. And the pastor texted me last week, "We hadn't seen you in a few weeks, Brother Stewart. You gonna make it?" And my reply back to her was, "I know it's 2 1-4 teams playing this weekend, Pastor, but I still don't think I'm gonna be there this Sunday."
Hey man, JP is a school principal and a Sunday school superintendent.
Sunday school superintendent, man. It's a big time job.
Golly, damn it. I know you walking on eggshells around there. She's a real authoritarian.
She's a real authoritarian, but she's an authoritarian that really don't mess with me, you know? As long as these bills stay paid and there's food in the refrigerator and a roof over their head, she don't say a damn thing to me. Not a damn thing.
All right, so the Bills get a big win over the Titans, 34-10. Bengals, 21-14 over the Browns. Texans, 24-22 over or losing to the Packers, 24-22. The Colts, another win without Anthony Richardson. I don't think Richardson played again today. 16-10 over the Dolphins.
Okay.
And then you got the Vikings losing to the Lions 31-29, and the Eagles dominate.
Right.
I mean, they dominate the Giants 28-3, and that had to be or feel very good if you're the former Giants running back Saquon Barkley. I always have trouble pronouncing his name. Saquon Barkley, as he has a big game today against his old team. 17 carries, 176 yards, and 1 TD. So we'll talk about all that stuff tomorrow on the Two Live Stews Experience, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Join in, a lot of fun. Trust me, you will have a good time.
Anthony Richardson is back. He had a very bad day. He was 10 for 24, 129 yards. But again, they played the Dolphins. What do you know? Ryan Stewart had the Colts -3 versus the Dolphins today. So it's a cash in for your boy because they won 16-10. The Dolphins are decimated and can't get the ball to anyone. When I handicap games, after looking at the points and studying the points, what I look at is who's the head coach, who's the offensive coordinator, and how good is the defense. Those are the three things that I look at. I've talked to you about that several times.
Right.
And when looking at that game, seeing a Miami Dolphins team that's under 500 and a coach team that's above 500, getting their starting quarterback back, I knew that -3 was easy. Money in the bag. I handicap games.
You're a handicapper.
I'm a handicapper. That's what I do.
That's what's up.
That's one of the things. One of the things I do.
Today, 16-10, the Colts get it done against the Miami Dolphins. Tyler Huntley starting. Tua. It's been reported over the last day and a half that Tua is going to try to come back in week 8 for the Miami Dolphins. So Tyler Huntley today, 7-13, 1 touchdown pass, no turnovers, but really didn't move the ball through the air. If you're talking about 87 yards in the entire game for them.
And because this is the Falcons wrap up, we're not going to sit here and talk about that Tua situation right now. We're not going to do that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So let's get back
now,
to
we'll definitely get into all of these scores and all of the games from college and the NFL once again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Do us a favor, hit the like button, the thumbs up button, the heart button, whatever it is. Hit that for us in today's broadcast. And also do us a favor as well, as if you can, we really would appreciate it. Hit the share button and share today's Falcons wrap up. Once again, as they go down and they lose the day to the on the road Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf, 4 receptions, 99 yards, damn near 25 yards per catch. Leaves the game on the cart with the medical staff. And whenever that happens to a player of that stature, it hurts that team and it hurts football fans. My heart sank when I saw DK Metcalf leaving the field on the cart, sir. Your thoughts about the injury?
Yeah, so he came back and he was on the sideline. He had ice on his knee, so it was a knee injury. The way that he looked, it must not have been that serious because he didn't look concerned. Once again, he actually came back on the field with all of his pads still on, but he was on the bench sitting with some ice on his right knee, I believe it was. So, yeah, hoping that guy is good. You talk about a specimen, man. This guy is a freak of nature, man.
Yeah.
Made some big catches in the first quarter of the game today against the Falcons. But yeah, just a real specimen, and hopefully he's not nothing serious with that knee. Yep.
So I can't take any time out of today's Falcons wrap-up show to talk about last night's Georgia Bulldogs game, right? I probably shouldn't do that, right?
Well,
rules are rules.
Save it till tomorrow.
Okay, rules are rules. Okay, I'm just asking. But man, oh man, has the football been great. I mean, man, has the football been great.
The football has been very good, and I did watch that game last night as well. So we definitely going to talk about the Georgia Texas game tomorrow morning. All of the games this past weekend. Balls and busters. Who are your balls and busters tomorrow morning with the 2 Hour Stews Experience, 7 a.m. Eastern Time?
We'll get back to the chat, and we got to keep it Falcon-centric. However, FM said Deshaun Watson is a schlep rock. I know we're not talking about anything other than Falcons, but I do want to say this. Everyone that's saying Deshaun Watson is bad luck, schlep rock, or lives in a glass house, everyone's saying that, he's guaranteed to make $239 million, whether he's on the floor, on the gridiron, or not. Whether he's in uniform or in a warm-up suit, he's going to get his check Monday morning, every single Monday for the next 5 years, and it's $239 million before taxes. So how much of a schlep rock is he really? All right, I'm sorry.
It's all about perspective. You're right.
I had to say that. I am elated for Deshaun Watson because all the trials and tribulations that he's dealt with, Now, the stuff that he brought on himself, that's a him thing. I'm not supporting that. I'm not backing that up.
Allegedly.
I'm not applauding that. Allegedly. Yeah. But for a brother to deal with what he's dealt with for the last 5 years and still know that every penny of his money is coming to him, I can't call him a schlep rock. I just can't.
Yeah. Stewart Media and Entertainment, Anthony Richardson played. He was awful, but Miami was on their third-string quarterback from Noddy. From Loose Neck Perpetuity side, no wonder Ryan got that Life 360. Yeah, you talked about that a while back about that Life 360. Y'all still got that going on?
Of course we do, man. I believe in safety for my family. Of course we do. I believe in safety for my family. What's he talking about? Where'd that come from?
I don't know why that came.
I know.
I don't know what he was even regarding. That was regarding.
I know what this is. He's trying to shine a light and put attention to the name that people have been calling me, Ryan Perpetuity Stewart, versus him, Loose Neck's Eye. He's trying to just shine a light to. That's what this is. This is hate. It's hate, Loose Neck, and you're better than that.
From Julius 35, see that check go clear if he's injured or not. You were just talking about Deshaun Watson.
Now,
Stewart Media and Entertainment. P. Diddy got his money too. Having money doesn't mean ish. Don't go sour.
Who's that from? Who's that from?
His money. The government is about to seize all of his assets.
Who was that last text from?
I think that was from Noddy. Noddy just commenting in the production room.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what Noddy's saying, and I'm not talking about P. Diddy, but when it comes to athletes, we've seen the goalposts get moved over and over and over for decades. How you front load or back load money, give people guarantees, but they never get to the guarantees. And now that there's a dude that's having some issues that's guaranteed $239 million, I'm happy for that dude. I'm not happy for a part of the reasons why he's having issues, but I'm happy that he's still getting his money, because in the past, they hadn't given us our money when situations like that pop up for players. So I'm happy for him, and that's all I'm trying to say.
Yep. You're watching the Two Live Stews experience. You're watching the Two Live Stews Falcons wrap up as the Atlanta Falcons do go down today, 34-14. And just when you thought that everything was good, and I mentioned last week how when they got the win against Carolina, that was one of those games that the Falcons usually lose when they've been playing good and then they'll have a letdown. Today we were at home. I actually am feeling so good about this team. I thought that we were going to win. I thought that, I think that I can have the confidence that this team is, quote unquote, the real deal and that they would handle their business today. They always show this stat about teams traveling from one coast to the other and how, it's a real West Coast. I'm sorry?
East Coast to West Coast to East Coast.
Right.
Especially teams that play in the 1 o'clock East Coast games, because the 1 o'clock East Coast games are 8 o'clock a.m. games for West Coast teams when they're on the East Coast.
Right.
And vice versa, that 1 o'clock game is 4 o'clock games for teams on the East Coast when they go west, and teams that typically are on the East Coast that play at 1 o'clock prefer to play at 1 o'clock, if that makes any difference.
Yeah. And so that's always talked about. And today, I thought about that, and I was like, Falcons going to handle their business today. These cats had this long trip, and their bodies ain't in sync. Their internal time clock ain't in sync. Falcons going to handle their business today. They ran the ball a lot, and then Kirk Cousins really didn't look good out there. His numbers ain't that bad. We can have this discussion about numbers all we want. You're a number guy. I'm not a numbers guy. His numbers don't look that bad except for the interceptions, but a decent completion percentage. But, man, just some bad breaks at bad times, horrible interceptions, and they lose 34-14 today.
I'll bring this to your attention while talking about his numbers. The only number that's bad is the 2 interceptions. He threw for 232, 24 for 35. The 2 interceptions, those are bad. I often talk about Bijan Robinson getting his 20 carries or more. He got 21 carries, and he brought in the rock at 103 yards. So he averaged 5 yards per carry. However, Tyler Algier was averaging 7 yards per carry and only touched the ball 5 times. Because I believe in numbers, he should touch the ball more.
Well, I mean, you can't have it both ways. I mean, Bijan got the carries today. We've been screaming for Bijan to get the carries today. He got them. You can't have it both ways now, sir.
Okay. But you're right. If you've got two backs, one averaging 5 yards a carry and the other averaging over 7 yards a carry, 26 carries is not enough because it's a numbers game. So you got two guys averaging more than 5 yards per carry, but you only ran it 26 times. Run it 40 times. If you got two guys carrying the ball more than 5 yards per carry, run it 40 times.
Right.
You see what I'm saying and what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
It's going to make it easier for the quarterback and easier for the offense if you've established the line of scrimmage, which clearly the running backs for the Falcons had done, but they wasn't getting the ball.
Yeah. Cousins was off. He was missing throws. He threw a couple in the dirt. I say the dirt. They're playing on AstroTurf or whatever the turf is, but missing receivers today. Letting some of the passes kind of sail on him today. It just was not his day in comparison to the week that he had last weekend. In the last 2 weeks, really, he's been balling out of control over the last couple of weeks. But today, he just could not get right. He's like that dude from the movie Life. He could not get right today.
Yeah, he just couldn't do it. Falcons schedule for the next 4 weeks. I want to thank the great Naughty Dread for that. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay, division rival. You've got the Cowboys, which is the Two Last Stews, Falcons, Cowboys tailgate going down the weekend of the 3rd and the 4th of November. Smooth slot. Y'all make sure you pull up. You got the New Orleans Saints and you got the Denver Broncos. Let's get your thoughts on the Falcons' next 4 games.
All winnable. I think this is one of the it's definitely between Tampa Bay and the Falcons in the division as far as who is the best team in the division. Falcons already got the tiebreaker. They already beat them one time. So a couple of crucial games coming up in the next couple of weeks. I even though they lost today, I feel like that they're going to go back in the film room. They're going to figure some things out. I mean, maybe I don't know if you can make a move and try to bring in another defensive pass rusher or something at this point in the year. I don't know.
The Falcons should sell their
soul. I don't feel deterred today after the loss. And the NFL teams are evenly matched, okay?
Right.
You're going to have some losses. I mean, rarely you're going to think a team is going to go a whole season without a loss. But today was kind of disparaging. It was kind of disparaging today, the fact that, we had the great performance the last couple of weeks, and then we lose today in this fashion at home to a team traveling all the way across the country. It's kind of alarming. It's a little alarming.
Falcons now sitting at 4-3, if I'm not mistaken. They got the Bucs coming up. The Bucs are 4-2, playing a little bit later today. Cowboys also sitting at 4-3. Saints, who won their first 2 games, now on a 5-game losing streak. I'm winning money off of the Saints because they're the brown bag face team like they typically are. And lastly, man, the Broncos still trying to find their way with Bo Nix are sitting at 4-3. And again, I'll talk about those 4 teams and where their standings are because those are the next 4 teams that the Falcons will be playing in the next 4 upcoming weeks.
Yep. All right. Man, you're drinking a nice cold one, huh, man?
Oh, it's Sunday.
Huh?
It's Sunday.
That's how you do it on Sunday?
I had travel soccer on Sunday. I left
How'd that go?
Soccer. They lost. Mason Knowles lost. They didn't play well. And I was there, but I had to leave early to get back here to do this show with you.
Okay. How's the football going? I haven't talked to you about that in a while.
Season ended this past weekend. I'm sorry. Season ended this past Thursday. They got beat 52-0 by a team.
What?
Now listen, he's had an amazing year, and I'm very happy with how he's played. I think he should focus on offense and being a receiver because he doesn't want that contact. As a matter of fact,
so when you're talking about that contact, you're talking about him playing safety,
right?
And yeah, you really got to be born with that inner fortitude to run into somebody like full speed and not even. Yeah, it's a mentality.
Something up here has got to be different for you to play linebacker and or safety.
Mm-hmm.
and he was out there trying to slide tackle people like he was playing soccer. So what's that mean? Don't do that, Doug. Doug, don't do that.
He was out there trying to slide tackle people like a soccer. No, nephew, that's not going to work.
No, he didn't want that contact. So I think when I get him a wide receiver trainer, someone that's good and that's someone that can teach him the game from that position, teach him the route tree and teach him the things to look at. I think when we do that he will be a phenomenal athlete on the offensive side of the ball. Phenomenal.
Okay.
But yeah,
But do he have the courage? And you're watching the Two Live Stews Experience, the Falcons wrap-up show. Do he have the courage to go across the middle on a slant?
He will.
Or post pattern. Huh?
He will have the courage. But he got a quarterback now that can't get it to him across the middle.
Okay.
He got an O-line that's not protecting the quarterback.
I don't know if you should throw the JV quarterback under the bus like that on national radio, worldwide radio.
I hadn't said Huey's name. I didn't say his name.
Come on, man.
I didn't say Huey's name. I didn't talk about his parents, one of the most affluent families down here in Columbus, the Jackson family. I didn't talk about any specifics.
All right, man. You have the people come looking for you, man. Remember, you are down there in Columbus, Georgia. All right. This ain't you're not in ATL. You're not in Harlem. You're not on Bankhead.
If they come here, we only got 1,000 shells that's ready to be delivered. If they come here,
that's what I like to hear.
1,000.
We're gonna defend our home.
1,000.
Trust me on that.
Listen, trust me. This is the last place you want to come for me. This house right here. Catch me in these streets where I only have about 150 shells, but at this house right here, there's about 1,000 plus.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean
exactly.
All
right. Falcons get it done today, 34-14. What time did we even start today's show, Nadi?
Right at 4. Yeah,
okay.
I was thinking we have another 3 minutes or so.
All right, so listen, man, let's go ahead and wrap up today's wrap-up show. Let's wrap up today's wrap-up show. Falcons get it done, or the Falcons lose today to the Seattle Seahawks 34-14.
Real quick,
real tough loss for the Birds. Yes, sir.
Before you continue, real quick, everybody in the chat room, everybody that joined us for the Falcons wrap-up show, thank y'all very much. I mean, we really, 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 really appreciate y'all. And as a matter of fact, I see Ollie in the chat room. Ollie, thank you for jumping in there and joining the chat. But the reason why we're doing this on a Sunday when there's more games on, is for you guys in the chat.
Right.
That's why we're doing this. So Thank y'all so much for pulling up. Thank y'all for the interaction, and thank y'all for passing the word about what's going on with Stewart Media and Entertainment, as well as the Two Live Stews. Thank y'all very much for pulling up.
Tomorrow morning, Man Talk Monday, Ballers, Busters, everything that happened this past week in college football and the NFL, Arleywood, Arley World, Last 48, Oxtail conversation. I mean, a lot's going to be going on tomorrow morning, and trust me, we're going to have a good time.
So do you just say, if I talk about oxtails, I get a lot of communication about that. Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, interesting conversation. I mean, the whole point of doing the little reel videos is to promote this show. That's it. If you look at the video, you'll see I have 2livestews.com or 2livestewsyoutube.com. Yep. And it's all to promote the show. And these people think that they hurt my feelings when they go off of me and disagree with my opinion. Right. No, I'm actually winning. Thank you.
Do you
for hating my opinion or whatever the case may be?
Do you look at me like I'm a loser and I should do videos like that as well?
Not a loser. I never look at my brother as a loser.
Right.
But you probably do need to. You probably do need to do some of those videos to help promote the show. Okay, that's all it's about.
That's all
promoting the show.
Agree.
You wouldn't believe. Well, I know you know, but I'm talking to the people watching the show. People watching the show would not believe on how many people have no clue that we've been doing this show for the last 7 months.
7 freaking months.
I mean, long story short, Facebook and YouTube, they want their money.
Right.
If they're going to tell people
that
we're doing this show, we need to pay them some kind of way. They don't like free advertisement and us pushing our agenda through their platform for free.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to do guerrilla marketing lots of times to push the information that the show is back.
Ron Lee said Watson got that Tiger's Woods syndrome. Let that man have his happy ending. You always go too far, Ron Lee. That was a good one, though.
He's from your school. He's from your school of thought.
John Mickens, Watkins' injury was ugly. Prayers up, but with everything going on with him, it may be a career ender. I couldn't agree more. The Gimp is back. TJ Carter. I disagree with that.
I wouldn't go that far to say the Gimp is back.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. The Gimp has built up some goodwill over the last couple of weeks.
He's playing well. Other than the 2 picks today and the sacks, which the sacks partly aren't his fault, he's played well. He's done good enough to win games.
Yeah.
Now again, I got damn near a Woody when Michael Penix Jr. started warming up. Okay, but yeah, Kirk Cousins has done his job. He's making his money.
So it's like a slide scale. Okay, it's like a scale. Today he didn't do good, so he comes down a little bit.
Just a tad. Right.
If he doesn't do good again next week, then it'll come down some more. If he does good, it's going to come up.
And a week ago when he had 509 yards, he came up big time.
Right. Game 1, when they lost to the Steelers, scale was way down at the bottom.
Yep. Started calling his ass
down at the bottom. So we're fair. We're fair.
We're going to keep it real. That's one reason why people want us to talk on their behalf now, because we keep it real.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., right here on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, the 2 Live Stews Experience. Please join us. Please pass the word. Share this link. Share the show. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. The heart button. The thumbs up button. Whatever the case may be.
Shout out to the Georgia Hemp Company. Shout out to the Georgia Hemp Company.
Really, man?
Yeah, we really appreciate
on Sunday afternoon, the gummies?
Especially on Sundays. This
all right, so where can they get their where can people watch the show get their gummies at, man?
This is my Sunday routine. Go to the GeorgiaHempCompany.com website. I'll post it on my site a little bit later, but that's where I get my gummies, and I'm telling you, they literally keep me in the game.
All right, man. Peace.
Thank everybody in the chat room. We appreciate y'all in the chat room. A+ to you, Doug. Thank you for being in the chat room, Ollie. Thank you, Naughty Dread, as well, man. Good job today. See y'all tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, bright and early. 2 Live Stews Experience. Peace.
Peace.